Let me welcome Jean Touboul, the CEO of Pernod Ricard India, one of the leading premium spirits brands in the world. Huge round of applause for Pernod Ricard India and for Jean Touboul. Warm welcome. Let me also welcome on stage Mr. Vivek Sahni. He's the co-founder and chairman of Kama Ayurveda, and he's been a premier and driving force in the India beauty and wellness space. Warm welcome to you as well, Vivek. Good to have you with us. And shortly, we will also be joined by Rahul Mishra, who's a visionary fashion designer and the first Indian to, in fact, showcase. He's walking right up the stage. Warm welcome to you, and that's a great entry. You straight away walk up to this stage. Thank you so much, Rahul, for joining and making it on time. So he's the first Indian to showcase at the Paris Haute Couture Week. Warm welcome to you, Rahul. And thank you so much, audiences, for being with us on this session. I promise this is going to be a lot more interesting than you can imagine. I'm going to be starting off with you, John. And I want to start off by congratulating you. You must be in high spirits. And I can say that because Pernod Ricard India has, in fact, become the largest alco-bev player in the country by revenues. So congratulations on achieving that.
Thank you.
I want to understand from you, where do you see India currently when it comes to premium spirits, and where do we go from here when we come to talk about premium spirits? Why am I asking you this is, India was earlier only thought about a mass market, those who would be probably looking at lower ticket items when it comes to liquor, but you changed the game. How did you make that happen?
Well, thank you again. And yes, indeed, we are very proud that we became the leader of this market after 30 years of presence locally. So 3 decades is a long time, and premiumization, move towards luxury, is a journey. It's a journey that started then, and you're right to say there is still a big mass market with spirits in India, but it's premiumizing fast. It's premiumizing thanks to consumers who really are willing to aspire to products which are more elevated, and with the spirits to drink less probably, but drink better stuff. And we see that, which is extremely promising, even more in the younger generation. And so this trend is growing in the younger generation, which means when they grow older, when their disposable income grows with life, we should see this trend continuing, if not accelerating.
Good afternoon. My first question to you is you to Rahul. Rahul, you're spearheading Indian luxury fashion on the global stage now. What are the key factors you think are responsible for achieving that?
I think when you think on luxury, ultimate beauty of luxury lies in, I would say, one factor we can define is time. So how much time it takes to create something and how long it can retain love of the owner. So these two factors define luxury. And somehow when you think about India as a country, and I think I'm really lucky to be in India at this time, and being a designer out of India, where when you do Haute Couture Week in Paris, you realize almost 90% of most fabulous clothes which are showcased on runway are actually more or less made in India. So I think it's Idea India which is behind everything, or which is reason behind whatever success we have got as a brand.
Wonderful. I'll come to Vivek now, and I want to understand from you, Vivek, globally, there is this rising trend of clean beauty, and you're already at the helm of it. I want to still understand, do you think the recognition that we were hoping for Indian Ayurveda to achieve on a global stage in the luxury space has been delivered yet, or still there is some bridge that needs to be capped?
Yeah, it's on. Okay, so I think we're a long way to go. They're calling it A-beauty, which is very nice. I love the idea of A-beauty. I said I love the idea of A-beauty. As to K-beauty, I think A is far better. We're, I think, at still a very nascent stage. I think at Kama Ayurveda, what I'm very proud about is we took this idea of Ayurveda, a traditional Indian system of medicine, and made it available to, an Indian audience, and now a global audience with our stores in the UK. So basically what was treated as a kitchen recipe, not a kitchen recipe, but actually a science, not accessible to most people. The products that we make, Kumkumadi Thailam Kumkumadi is pretty household. You Google it now, I think there are like 10,000 Kumkumadis up there. When we started 20 years ago, there wasn't even one. Ditto with the hair oil. So I think just the fact alone, that the fact that we've popularized Ayurveda in that sense, I think that's extraordinary. By propagating Ayurveda in its most authentic way, which means using the best quality ingredients to get the highest level of efficacy, so the products actually work. Your hair does stop falling, your dark circles do disappear, your acne, skin, all of the stuff does get better. That's where we're premium. Actually not premium, we're luxury. And the world is now discovering it. It's also the sister science of yoga. So I think with the prevalence of yoga all over the world, we're now finally coming to the time where Ayurveda is sort of coming into its, well, A-beauty is coming into its own.
You said A-beauty and everybody is associating it with K-beauty. Why am I saying that? Because K-beauty has actually overtaken the world with the snail mucin and all those products. I want to know, when will A-beauty beat K-beauty on the global stage?
I think K-beauty's been around for a while, so just give A-beauty a chance.
Yes, absolutely.
A chance. And I think it's already very fast. I mean, it's kind of interesting. We opened in the UK 2 years ago, a year ago. And we're at Harrods, and we're in Notting Hill, and I found that people have the same, like London has bad water and hard water, and their hair is falling out. So they're using Bringrati hair oil, and it's only growing. So I'm quite excited about it.
And now that we're talking about water, I'm going to shift to Mr. Touboul and ask him, what are the key growth drivers of the Indian spirit market, and how do you think PRI is innovating and going ahead in the curve?
Innovation is key in our business, because if we want to continue to interest and attract consumers, to evolve them towards a product with more value, we need to deliver these values through innovation. So we are constantly doing that, whether it is with our existing big brand like Royal Stag, where we did Royal Stag Double Dark recently, more peaty. We did the Blender Sprite 4 Elements that we launched, or totally new to the world brand like Longitude 77, our own Indian single malt, which we launched 18 months ago, and which is a true elevation to the whiskey, local whiskey market. So innovation with premiumization towards luxury.
And also, if I could ask you, how do you collaborate between industries? Do you see yourself collaborating across industries?
There is many collaboration, and we have Rahul here. Our brand Blender Sprite works with fashion, and has been working with fashion for probably 20 years. So we do see this association of lifestyle when it goes to fashion, when sometimes it goes to sport. Our brand Chivas Regal just announced a global partnership with Ferrari Scuderia, and also with Charles Leclerc, the pilot. So this collaboration, this association are key to us towards the two examples I mentioned are very luxury, toward this elevation, this lifestyle that our consumers are looking for.
Okay. Rahul, I'm going to come to you next. And, John started to talk about innovation. I still want to ask you about fashion industry, which is considered as the most innovative industry. Nowadays, we're talking about digital and AI also in the fashion industry. So I want to know from you, when we talk about, very personal heritage, handmade, personal couture, can that continue to command value in this new tech-driven era when AI is going to be looking to take over all the industries?
We all also keep asking this ourselves. And definitely AI is a wave which everybody, like if you're not using AI tools, you might already be lagging behind, for sure. But I have to also share here something. Like think about, it's like late 18th century or early 20th century. Clyde Monet is still there. And photography was taking over the world. Somehow most of the artists, they were making money by making portraits of rich people. Suddenly photography is there. There's no longer requirement for so many artists. But art kept appreciating. Like recently, one of the artwork of Monet and one of Picasso, which has auctioned at record value, which is, I think, close to 50 million or something like that, one piece. So yeah, anything which is handmade, which is driven with purpose, which is driven with idea of heritage, is going to become far more relevant in the time of AI because things are going to be made far more faster. So power of hand is here to stay. And I really feel when you look at a country like India, which is 1.5 billion population, it's better it stays here because that's also a requirement of society.
Absolutely. So, Rahul, I want to just follow up with that. You did say that the power of hand is here to stay. I want to just bring up to speed the memory of all the people. You designed Isha Ambani's Met Gala look, and that became a viral, and people will be able to see that picture behind me. And soon, but Rahul, 10,000 handmade hours is what it took to make that beautiful, gorgeous gown. Tell us, how did you get that done, and what conversation with Isha Ambani really got that final look?
So, the theme was, Garden of Time. So when you go Garden of Time, if you look at like our studio, Rahul Mishra studio, actually has created gardens across many seasons. Many years we have been working with florals, all these embroidery experiments and all that. So in that way, what we have done, we have created almost like a life of a garden. In her gown, the beginning of the gown starts with, with almost like dead flowers. So when a flower dies, it's not real death, it's a beginning, it's a new beginning. So that is something depicted with golden color, and how it kind of moves forward. The entire palla was, multiple feet long, and the whole idea was as if like it's a floating river, and how, flowers are kind of floating onto it. So, it was also a lot of sample flowers which you have done across 10 years of time. Everything has gone into it. A lot of recycling, repurposing has gone into creating that outfit. And that was the whole idea which she also wanted. So this palla which you see here, all different flowers from different seasons. Almost like, a time of 10 years we have put together. And her piece, which is more closer to body, is gold and these brown, dead skeleton of flowers, which is there. So as if like, death is a new beginning or new beginning of life. So that's our whole idea was.
Thank you. Vivek, my next question is to you, and I would like to ask you about, now Kama Ayurveda has ventured as an international footprint in the UK. What are the key initiatives undertaken by the brand to raise awareness among the global consumer on India's traditional holistic approach to beauty and wellness?
So, I can't speak about India, but I can speak about Ayurveda.
Yes.
And I think the most important thing is reason to believe. Like, I can say this saffron is amazing or this ingredient works, but how? Why? I mean, what is my reason to believe you? And that's why we turn to science. So clinical trials with detailed efficiency in the labs. The clinical trials here and both in Europe, so 2 sets of trials, to prove this science, what was codified 2,500 years ago. The Kumkumadi has been around for centuries, so it's time-tested. So what is time-tested in India has been proven by science that it actually works. So clinically proven, 21-day use, your hair does stop falling, your dandruff does get reduced, your acne does clear up, your dark circles do get reduced. So I think the science was the key, that we use science to prove this modern science to prove the ancient science. And I think, once you have, I think the proof, as I say, proof of the pudding is in the eating. If you actually have a product that works, I think that's reason enough to buy.
What is going to be the next big product after Kumkumadi Tailam's, such a viral success?
Well, we've got a bunch, and actually we've got a whole bunch new. We've got something very interesting happening early April. a whole bunch of new things, which I won't speak about now, but you'll be hearing about them shortly. So a whole bunch of very exciting new things happening.
Okay, John, I'm going to come to you and I want to ask you about the regulatory policies in the alcobev industry that can be very tricky and tough, especially when it varies across the states. Is it really difficult for you to navigate such challenges when it comes as headwinds to your overall ambition, growth, aspirations in India?
Well, alcobev market is regulated all over the world, so we don't complain, and we acknowledge alcohol is not neutral, and we accept this regulation and the taxation that go with it. Fair to say that India is complex, and this regulation, which is different in the different states, does create some difficulties, but we are a large player, the largest. We do cooperate well with the different authorities, and I would say the situation is improving year after year. So I'm really looking at this increasing ease of doing business, which is the right path. Of course, I would like it to go even faster, but it's going into the right direction.
Rahul, my question's to you. You know, as you said before, the Indian artisan is in the spotlight, whether it is Chanel, which produces their embroidery here, Dior, as we've seen before. We recently saw Dries Van Noten doing all the embroidery in India and finally giving it the due that it needed to be. And what do you feel about the Indian artisan being in the spotlight, and how do you take it forward on the global stage?
You know, I really feel like there's some hard realities, like one of the reasons why till now the craft is alive, there are two reasons behind it. One is, which is again celebration of Indian consumers, especially Indian women, who end up buying a lot of craft. They value, they understand it, they consume it. And second reason, which is also, India is such a large country, everybody does not has proper employment. So in that way, creating, like, for example, a handloom weaver who is weaving from the village, because, you know, till now, we could not take work to their doorstep, to the weavers. And average weaver, even till date also, earns sometimes 5,000, less than 5,000 rupees, a month. So in that way, more designers, whether global or Indian, more we work with purity of hand. Again, I say, why I use the word purity of hand? Because a lot of work which is happening is also semi-mechanized, maybe a little computer embroidery, and put a little bit of 10% hand embroidery on there, says it's a handmade lehenga. I think that is where we all brands, like all of us, why I'm using this forum to talk about this, all the brands, we all need a kind of responsibility also, to make sure if you have a customer who is ready to pay price, it is better to create something which is purely out of hand. Otherwise, the entire idea of luxury goes just in the optics of things. And how can we make sure that fair wages are given, due credit is given to everybody? So this is something which I really feel, a lot of times, like when I had some meeting with Minister of Textile also, I was talking about how can you make sure even somebody who's working from their home, and multiple craftsmen still across all industries, across whether it's related to Vivek, somebody doing something in Kannauj, or somebody doing something in... So a lot of these people, when they work from home, how can we make sure when they work for 8 hours a day, how at least minimum wages, if not sustainable wages. First dream is that everybody gets to get minimum wages for their work to be done. So in that way, I really feel the idea of luxury becomes far more powerful as a tool, because, as a designer, I always feel, what is the purpose behind making another outfit? I would really love to create some garments, maybe without embroidery one day. And I really want to, and that's how I started my career. But the thing is, embroidery is such a slow process. It employs so many people. So purpose for us is, how do you create more participation from people who really need work? So this becomes almost like a kind of, a continuous cycle for us to look at luxury, not necessarily in minimalism, but celebrate maximalism, because it creates more employment. It's more purposeful for our society. And sustainability-wise, I always say it, you might grow organic cotton, best material possible. But, when you make up million of t-shirts like that, it's no longer sustainable. On the other hand, using plastic sequin with hand on an outfit, which is going to stay like that forever, which will be passed on as heirloom piece in generations, might be far more sustainable. Because materiality is one thing of sustainability. Look at social sustainability, look at cultural sustainability, look at also how certain techniques somebody has mastered and they need to be employed with those.
Absolutely. John, I'm going to come to you. My last question to you. We're running out of time now. I want to understand Pernod Ricard India's focus now going forward from here. So far, like we began discussing, your focus has been more premium. Your focus has been limited editions as well. Tell me, would you ever want to explore or expand in the mass market, or maybe look at exploring even the brut segments in spirits? Wineries you shut down, are you going to be looking at that yet again?
The simple answer is we are a premium spirit company. So the mass market, some other people do it very well, and it's not really our business. We prefer to attract consumer and bring them up. And we are a local company, and I think there is more and more demand for local spirits. Take Indian single malt. 15, 20 years ago, you bring a friend home and you propose him an Indian single malt, he will question friendship with you. Nowadays, they will love it. We have plenty of good products in the market, and I think that's the way forward for the market.
My last question to you, Vivek. There's been an influx of beauty products in the country today, especially skincare is on a rise. How do you stay true to the ethos of the brand and do not become a part of the clutter?
I think the most important thing is authenticity and sticking to the value system you started with. Because, it's very easy to become trend-driven, but then you lose the spirit of what you are. And we are not a trend-driven company. Ayurveda is not trend-driven. And so if we're selling traditional and authentic Ayurveda, we stick to our truth, the authenticity of Ayurveda, so you don't dilute it. Obviously, you create more modern ways of utilization, of using it, end consumer use, because obviously nobody wants to just, only put an oil. They might want to use a cream, which is diluted. So, but to stick, I think authenticity is critical.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you all the audiences for listening in. You've been great and fascinating insights being shared. Thank you, Rahul, Vivek, and John, for that insightful conversation.